I'm gonna give my Chemical Romance, my MCR 2020 conspiracy theory.
Don't say that. You're gonna get all press coming in the stream suddenly. They hear it, they're like,
you'd say that, and then it's like, I want alternative press to be in the stream, Lizzie. I want them to be here. Why would I want that? It's not too crazy. It's not too wild, and of course, it's tinfoil. It's not. It's tinfoil hat, but it's not like fucking too crazy.
it's not
but
like
I think
super tinfoil.
no, I think that there's just a lot of like contract bureaucracy bullshit that's going on behind the scenes with My Chem. This is my theory about it. I thought it was very strange that when My Chemical Romance announced that they were returning, I had this issue with the fact that they announced they were coming back together. That was, just for sake of putting all the information out there on the stream. October 31st, 2019, they announced they were returning, right?
Yes.
We saw the videos, we saw the images, we saw all this stuff, and it was like kind of hinting, it was kind of like, ooh, creepy, weird, interesting. I liked it. It was cool, right? Totally cool.
It was the vibe. It got
super
us all
vibey,
really
right? So they do that, and I'm totally into that. They then say, we're returning, we're doing the show. They announce the show, tickets go on sale, Lizzie goes to it, she talks a lot of shit. Rude. But the show happens and these things happen. They then announce that they are doing their tour. They announce the US tour dates. They announce all the shows they're playing. They put the show up, they put the tour up. They put the tour up and they sell it out like immediately. Within 8 hours, they sell the entire tour out, right? And the whole time from announcement to show to then tour announcement, I was like, they haven't posted one photo of the band. They've posted almost no information. There's been like almost zero interviews. There's been no information coming out about any of this shit. There was the show, there was people talking about it, memes and shit, but there was nothing from the band themselves. And I do believe that like My Chem is a giant band. They're a huge artist. They are probably one of the largest bands of all time. If you look at all the like biggest bands of all time, they're probably up there with that list of like biggest bands of all time. They can do whatever they want. There's no reason that they can't just say, fuck it, we're just going to do this tour. It doesn't matter. I was concerned that it might have been about Gerard not feeling comfortable or confident being in front of a camera, putting out photos of that. And of course, everybody in the community is going to be like, dude, no one's worried about it, but you do you, if you feel uncomfortable, you do that. There were some photos that were taken of them from that show, the return show that Lizzie was at. Again, fucking bullshit.
He's just mad that I wouldn't have sold the ticket.
Yep, that is correct. That is correct. That is correct. I am mad. That's correct.
Brian literally texted me. He's like, I will pay for hotel. I will pay for it. And I'm like, no, my friend bought it. And then like I tweeted about it. Forgot she was telling me. She's like, who's trying to take my ticket? I'm like, oh no.
Your boy.
Yeah, my boy.
People were mean to Gerard. And I totally get that. But like, there's being mean to somebody, and there's the audience reaction to that, and then there's the actual band's reaction to it. And I will say this, my personal thoughts on Gerard is that he needs to wash his hair and he needs to just like get an outfit again. But like, that's it. And I don't think that that's unreasonable. I don't think that's rude. I think he just needs to be, his hair looks like he hasn't washed it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's a very simple fix. Wash it. And Gerard and the whole band really, but mostly Gerard, being this aesthetic creation, being this image that he has cultivated as what the band should look like, he does seem really attached to the army jacket. And like he's worn it ever since the band broke up. And for all of his comic appearances, he's worn that one thing. And like that's fine because he did a lot of the same shit with all of the other costumes that he wore with all the other albums and shit. So it's not so odd for his character, but it is kind of odd for his character to not be creating new art, new things for it, right? So we see the merch that Lizzie was very nice to buy me a t-shirt from the show. Thank you very much, Lizzie. I appreciate it. It's a great shirt, but
I waited a lot of like 25 minutes for that shirt.
Wow, a whole 25 minutes for somebody who couldn't be there. Wow,
I waited,
that's really interesting.
I waited outside for 4 fucking hours, okay?
Oh yeah, did you? All right, cool.
Yeah, I did.
That's cool. Yeah, no, look, Gerard can do whatever he wants, and nobody gives a shit. Like Gerard is the creative force behind that band. You literally do whatever you want. No one cares. I understand that people might be mean to him on the internet, but I would almost be certain that Gerard doesn't read that shit and doesn't give a fuck about it. I'd be very surprised if Gerard is still spending his like 40s like worried about what people are fucking saying about him on the internet. I cannot believe. So then I get to thinking, 2020 comes around. They obviously had to cancel all their shows. They had to move their shows, all that shit. So they're still booked for 2021, all that sort of shit. And they don't do fucking anything for the entire year. Not one goddamn thing happens for My Chemical Romance this entire year until they put out a makeup palette. Now, no shade, no hate. Makeup palettes are the rage. They obviously sold it out in a day. Good for them. I like the idea of doing a makeup palette. I love the idea of leading off your nostalgia, doing a band-related a collaboration with a makeup company to create this palette. Great work. But here's my thing. If that's the only thing you did in 2020, that's interesting. Here's my theory. I believe that My Chemical Romance very much did not want to reunite. They very much did not want to do a tour or any new things at all. I can only say that because they haven't done anything. Nothing has happened. Nothing has gone on this year at all, which, while you don't have to do any of it, the fact that you didn't want to, the fact that you were a band that spent all of your career pushing the line of what like emo art would be, or emo scene art, like creating these worlds, creating these characters, creating this whole thing, and you're just like, nah, I'm good. And that to me is the strangest part of it, that like Gerard would be like, I want to do it, but I don't want to create anything new. No, I think that was what they wanted it to be, because I don't think they want to do it. I don't think that they want to do the reunion. I think that they will do their absolute best for the fans, and I think that they will show up. But I believe that the reason that they are actually getting back together at this moment is because there's some contractual bullshit with Warner Brothers and the record label about taking over their branding. And I believe that that's the only thing that could bring the band out of retirement, is like losing control over the My Chemical Romance branding, the My Chemical Romance name, the iconography, all of that stuff is the only thing I think that could bring them from not doing it. I don't think they need any money. I think that all of them are doing very well monetarily. My Chemical Romance is still like, they're literally in the top 200 of Billboard twice this year for records that were released over 15 years ago. Like, no. Like they don't need money. They're good. But like,
if you also just Googled like Gerard Way's net worth with like Netflix, everything, it's like $3 million.
Yeah.
The dude,
a Netflix show?
Good.
A huge Netflix show? Oh God. Oh, money though? No. This to me reeks of like contractual bureaucratic bullshit that brought this band back out of hiatus, out of indefinite hiatus. We'll put it that way, to do shows and to do tour. And I think it's like, it's the same. We were talking about it last night on the podcast about like Spider-Man, and like we were talking about how like Marvel would have gotten the rights back to Spider-Man if Sony didn't make a movie, or if Fox didn't make Fantastic Four and X-Men, the rights would have reverted back to Marvel. And neither of these companies wanted to do that because they saw the money that they would make if Marvel movies kept being made, if they were making it for their studio. And I think it's the exact same thing. And this is my comic book tinfoil hat on, is like, but I believe that like there's a certain amount of Gerard and My Chemical Romance doesn't actually want to do it, but if they don't, rights and branding and all that revert over to the record label, who 100% wants to take on this moment of nostalgia, this whole world that's being created around emo nights and My Chemical Romance, most specifically as the emo night emo band. You know, like they want to take advantage of the moment.
It's always definitely too, because a lot of people on at least like Twitter have been complaining about how on their site, which is run by Warner Brothers, their merch is like super simple, super basic, but it's still like, you know, a normal price. So it's like, you know, anywhere from $20 to $35, but it's just like the same shit that I can get a Hot Topic or you can probably like get off of eBay or something. It's not that good. And there's people like taking it personally, and it's like they're probably not making those design decisions because I doubt, knowing how this band has evolved over so many years, like that they're gonna be like, I'm just gonna reprint the old like 3 Cheers logo on every single fucking thing and then like mash it all. It's like, no, that's not their aesthetic, that's their style. And so I think, again, like that's another big Warner Brothers thing, because if they really wanted to make new merch, like they made some new merch for the return show, obviously, but compared to like other stuff they had, it was kind of
lame merch. It's basic merch, and I say lame not as like it's fine. It's within their theme, but it's not extravagant. It's not great. I think
the fact too that they had like a varsity jacket and it was like over $100. It was like 150 or something, and they were really pushing it. And I think it might be still on their site. I was like, this doesn't feel like the vibe that they would ever really give me.
They do not seem like a band that leans on nostalgia.
No,
they don't seem like a band that's like, we're gonna go back and do all the shit. But all their videos were nostalgia. It was like a summoning of like all of our old shit, and then they had the video that came out to promote everything about all their old videos, all their old imagery, all their old shit. And it's like, that's not really like a My Chem thing. Again, no band member was in it. If you look at Danger Days, who are the main characters of Danger Days? The fucking band. That's not even. That's partially true about Black Parade. That's partially true about 3 Cheers, but it's mostly true about Danger Days. And they did Danger Days shit, and there were no band members in that at all. Period. It seems that movie people have learned. You know that by the fact that like Spider-Man recast everyone for what sounds like it's going to be just like fan service for Spider-Man 3 for this new third movie. They recast everybody to make a Spider-Verse moment. But then also in Star Wars for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, they recast Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. So like, we know that like there are companies out there who know exactly what the audience wants, and the audience wants the same shit. They want consistency. They want the same thing happening over and over again. It's great. It's beautiful. And we know that that's what people want. We know that's what people want. So like, imagine the world where My Chemical Romance is like, well, we have to come back. We have to do this. But like, they don't want to. And I think that that's what we're in. I think that's the world. People just have to calculate and optimize monetary return with decisions around these things. 100%.
Oh yeah.
100%. It's like you see it in certain ways and you see it around certain things, and like overall I think we're very happy with like what Marvel's doing with the movies, with the TV shows and all that, and we feel like that is like good ways of like creating and then also using that creation you've made to build a universe around it. And My Chem did that because Gerard is so obsessed with comic books, and then was like, it's done, the story's kind of done. Like it may have faded out, it may have ended at the right time or the wrong time, whatever it is, but for whatever reason they were like, we're not gonna really, I don't think they were like, we're really gonna do it, we're really gonna come back and like create more, and now it's like, well, you have to. I also think 15 years being they released 3 Cheers 15 years ago from 2019, so it would be like within a potential contractual obligation time. That's like, I don't fucking know what their contract is, and I'm not going to say here that I do. But if I had to guess, and also I know, and I am 100% correct about this, 15 years was the exact amount of time. Look, it's all just like me. Like, I'm just kind of disappointed, but there's no... It's me being excited, but with a little bit of reservation about what it's going to be. I think, Lizzie had a great time at the show. She told me, and I said, please stop telling me about this. Please stop telling me about any of this. Yeah, I believe firmly that it will still be a good time because I believe they're still going to put on the show that they want to put on. It's still going to be a quality time at the shows, and it's still going to be worth going. Everyone's going to get their money's worth of going to it. I just don't think that overall, like, we should be excited about new music. I don't think we should be excited about new videos. I don't think we should be excited about anything. I think we should just be like, it's going to be shows. It's going to be that. We're moving on. I don't care. Like, it's still going to be good shows. It's still going to be good shit. So it's not really a big deal. But there is a part of me that's a little bit disappointed that there's very likely not going to be a lot of excitement on the other end of what they're making. And that kind of sucks. I would love new My Chemical Romance stuff, but I'm also like, I've been a little hesitant ever since they announced it because it just seemed very... I don't think we're going to hear anything from them until after their contract is done.
Yeah,
like, there's a reason there's been no interviews
there. So
obviously they didn't have to do fucking interviews. They barely had to advertise it at all because it literally sold out and they didn't do fucking anything. They literally did nothing and they sold the entire fucking tour out. So, but it's all conjecture and no one knows and we're all just gonna speculate. Yeah, exactly. So it's possible they'll do new stuff, but I would also who am I relating this to? At the drive-in came out when they reunited to do a tour, and they were like, this is a money grab. They literally were like, we are here to make some money because of nostalgia. Straight up.
At least they were transparent about it.
And that's at the drive-in, you know. For people who don't know, it's members of Mars Volta and shit. Like, it's the kind of artist they are. It's the kind of band that is. So it doesn't really, like, it's not surprising. If My Chem came out and said this is a cash grab, we'd all be like, what? And I don't think it is.
It's not the vibe, yeah. And that's what a lot of people have been saying the last like year that they've been back out. I'm like, listen, I don't know them personally. I was definitely a fangirl, still am. So I'm not saying I like know everything about these people, but like through interviews and like articles I've read and everything, I'm like, that just does not give me that vibe that they're like that whatsoever. Because at that point, it would have like came out like, you know, a year or two ago, like when Fall Out Boy, you know, like, sorry, not a year or two, like when Fall Out Boy came out, they would be like, oh, hey, Fall Out Boy's getting back together. Like, let's do something else, which wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. On the interview thing is like, Frank has his own band, does interviews for it. Gerard does interviews for Umbrella Academy. He did an interview earlier this year with, Jim from Jimmy Eat World on his podcast and like didn't talk anything at all about the reunion. And like there have been no interviews with any of the band members about the reunion at all since they announced it. I mean, none that I can find. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's like something out there somewhere hidden. I think that like Mikey may have said something when they had to like postpone all the tour dates, and that's it. Like announcements about like the reunion and shit. Like there's been nothing. That's just objectively weird to do, period.
That is not what you do in a press cycle, because if you did that for a whole year and you're a reunited band that is really popular and you're not doing anything, it's just like, yo, this ain't it.
And like, again, if the end goal is to sell out a tour, you did that, but still it's weird that you would, it's weird that you wouldn't, they also kept, I mean, they kept it well under wraps, but like at a certain point, if you're like selling out the tour, also we lost Lizzie to the third dimension.
Oh no.
Well, we're all in the third dimension, I guess.
It was bound to happen at some point.
Bound to happen. If they were keeping it under wraps at a certain point when they're like selling out their entire tour, like at a certain point, it's like, it's not under wraps anymore. Like everyone knows about it and everyone tried to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
don't know.
but I think like, unless there's something more coming out this rest of the year, and anything they would have posted would have given something away or caused too much of a rumor mill type thing, which trust me, anything could. So I could also understand that part.
Yeah. And if they aren't showing excitement, it's hard to believe they're excited to do it. Agreed. It's it's like when you make a movie, all these actors who like make movies that like are objectively going to suck, and you know they're going to suck before you go into it, and they do all the interviews about it because they have to do press. It's part of their contract. They have to go do press about it, and they show up in interviews and they do all this stuff, and they talk about it like it's, oh yeah, it's great, and they make up a bunch of bullshit. And like as the movie like is out for a while and their contract ends and they no longer have to talk good about it, they're like, yeah, it sucked. And like it happens all the time. And the fact that My Chem is not doing any press about it, it's kind of telling. All right, that's my theory. That's what I got. It's hard to believe anything, but my other theory about this, well, it's not another theory. It's just connected on the theory. We live in a world where you remember I'm not here to bum you all out, but it is an emo night. I'm just saying that like I have hesitancy about it. I have a little bit less of an excitement than I probably should have, to be honest with you. That's on me, and I'm not trying to bring everybody down. I'm just like, maybe we all got to get our excitement like in check, because they're literally just leaving everybody to talk without any words from them. They're just like, yeah, what do you think? what do you think is gonna happen? And then like we all talk. So when you come to like marketing shit, and when you get into like corporate marketing and shit, eventually you have to find like a really fucking wild way to market something, right?
Yes.
And do you remember back in the day when somebody found the iPhone 4 and somebody was like, I found this phone. This phone was left in a bar or something like that, right? I found this phone in the bar, and this is the design of the iPhone 4. And they were a bunch of photos, and they were like, well, we don't know. It could be anything. And then Apple started to reach out, and they tried to get the phone back. And there was this whole big like news thing. I think it was Gizmodo was the one that broke it. And so there were like some cease and desist to Gizmodo from Apple and all this stuff. They're like, oh, somebody lost the phone. It's a prototype, whatever. It's the whole thing. It was Martin Atkins actually who was giving a speech about just music and stuff. He was giving a speech to people, and he was talking about how this person like left this thing behind, and somebody found it, and they started to post about it on tell everybody about it and tell them, oh, I have this. Yeah, that was what Jimi Hendrix did with one of his records. He left it in the back of a cab, and somebody found the record, and then like told everybody, I have Jimi Hendrix's new record. And it was a total like ploy to get people to believe that like, oh my God, there's this record and it's out here, and oh my God, and this is crazy, and oh my God, can you believe we found this whole record? It was all a marketing plan, and Apple did the exact same fucking thing. It was all faked. It was all like to build up hype. The iPhone 4 was like better selling than all their shit. Yeah, and then Apple kept doing it because it worked. We live in a world where like there is no accident. There is no fucking accident in marketing. None of that. Yeah, Fall Out Boy did the same shit. Yeah. Fall Out Boy was really good about all this shit. Pete Wentz was very smart about his marketing. I will give him that. I may not like Mania, but he was very good about marketing. And we live in a world where we have all of that shit, and you're gonna tell me My Chemical Romance can't think of one fucking thing to do? Not one fucking thing? This band who had all these fucking ideas, Gerard, who is such a creative genius in this way, had nothing. So I don't think it's a matter of I don't have anything. I think it's a matter of I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I think that there is still a lot to be excited about in emo music. I just think we need to have measured excitement about My Chem and what is going to happen from it. And that's sad and it sucks. But I'm also like, I don't know. I'm fine with living in a world where it's like we get a tour, we get shows, we get that, and that's it. Like I'm fine with that world.
Yeah,
I was fine with seeing them at their fucking last tour anyway. Like I saw them a bunch of times back when they were still doing it. So I feel good anyway because I'm ancient.
Oh my God.
But that's for me. I feel bad for people who want to see them. What world are you living in? I'm living in an old world, man.
Yeah, you are.
It's the world where like we have measured expectations for what we expect of the artist that we grew up with, basically, is how I feel about it. Like, yeah.
I feel bad for people whose like icons were trapped right now.
Yeah. Like, I think that in many ways, Panic at the Disco could have done the same thing, but Panic at the Disco decided we're going to just do whatever makes us happy, which is mostly just Brendan. And I think that honestly has kind of worked. Like, Brendan Urie has done very good work over the years musically and has still done great tours, selling out his tours. Like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Panic at the Disco. So like, I feel like, there are ways here and there. But he certainly has done many things over the years where he stayed as an artist. Panic at the Disco stayed as an artist. And he ended up making good music. Like Panic at the Disco was one of the top Billboard artists for rock music this year for like 2 songs, I think, for High Hopes and
Hey Look Mine
and Hey Look My made it. And the album didn't come out this year. That's wild. Panic at the Disco is doing great. So like Panic at the Disco was the hero that survived. You know, like you say, like you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain, which we said about My Chem. That was the meme about My Chem, was like they died the hero and then everybody else stayed around. And then they're like, well, the people who live long enough to see themselves become the villain was like Paramore, which I'm like, you're wrong. Panic at the Disco, I'm like, you're very wrong. And Fall Out Boy, which I'm like, okay. All right, it's fine.